So in today's video, I'm going to be going over every single thing that was cut from Cyberpunk 2077. As a sneak peek, here is a list of everything that was cut from Cyberpunk 2077 that we at least have seen past video for, past images for, past trailers for, and we're going to be going over that in today's video. Let's get into it. So before I start this video, if you like anything I do here, even just a little bit, please drop a like down below. It'd be much appreciated. Maybe a sub if you want more content like this. I also have a Discord, so link to my Discord down in the description down below. Feel free to join the amazing community we have in the Discord. Let's get into this list because this is a insane list posted by Reddit user Oak Tree Vibes, although apparently this is a repost from someone else. Let's get into this here. This is list of every single detail from the 2018 gameplay demo that was changed or cut from the final game. It is impossible to recreate the female V that we see in the 2018 gameplay demo. Not a huge thing, but a lot of people wanted to be able to recreate that look of the character, but as many people discovered, the character customization is unbelievably limited. I did a video talking about it just a couple of days ago. Link some up if you want to check that out after this video. It's already been known. CD Projekt Red flat out lied about a lot of the customization ability of your character, and it's basically impossible to recreate any of the characters we saw in the 2018 gameplay demo. Deep customization system, a glimpse of what will be possible in the released game. This is what they said, showing off in the gameplay demo, the customization system, saying it was just a glimpse.
You can fully customize your character using a deep customization system. We just want to give you a glimpse of what will be possible in the released game.
When in fact what they showed in the gameplay demo was actually far more than what we ever got in the actual customization. Again, like I say, the customization is very limited. That was all cut or never existed in the first place and was just a massive embellishment of what the customization was going to be. For example, childhood hero, key life event, why Night City as V's background options. There were background options similar to like the life path things, but these were like actual character background details that you could choose, like childhood hero being like Johnny Silverhand and stuff. So remnants of this are still in the final game with the life paths, but at the same time, as many people have discovered by playing the game, the life paths also don't really matter because V is treated like a street kid basically no matter what, and sometimes you get a few special dialogue options based on what path you choose, but not often enough that it actually makes any difference besides the like 20-minute opening of the game. But yeah, far more expanded character creator, more presets, better laid out options, gradual skin tone, body type selector, starting clothes, actually being able to see the tattoo designs, choose between 10 possible locations on the body for them, as well as more options in general regarding eye mods, surface wiring, able to change the glow color of your eyes when you are cooled, obviously for third-person cutscenes purposes. So this was something that is huge. Third-person cutscenes were a big thing for this game. This was going to be the whole reason why there was character customization in the first place, why there were options for being able to change the glow color of your eyes when you're cooled. So when a character cools you in a cutscene, like we saw when V is in her apartment and is being called by Jackie, you could choose what color your eyes would flash when you would get that phone call. This was all stuff that was actually in the game. We saw these cutscenes. These cutscenes were apparently going to be a big thing. Most of the cutscenes in the game, or dialogue, or phone calls, or anything like that, any choices, seemed like they were all going to play out, for the most part, in third person. So much so that a ton of these cutscenes were already done. Shown by the E3 demo, a bunch of these cutscenes were finished. They were there. And if you've played the game, Cyberpunk 2077, as it is at the moment, you can clearly see how a lot of moments in the game would benefit far more from being in like a third-person cutscene, and there's still remnants of those third-person cutscenes in the game. For example, there's a few glimpses of it. There's a few missions where it'll just go into a third-person cutscene. There'll be a few moments at the end where it'll just go into a third-person cutscene as well. It's clear that third-person cutscenes were going to play a big role in this game, but were just cut. They were just flat out cut for time because I'm assuming they just couldn't get together all the keyframing and the motion capture and whatever. They could have all been done by this point. They could have gone all the motion capture recording done by this point, but just couldn't be asked to finish it. Like you will see, a lot of the stuff in here was just cut to meet that December 10th release date. Seeing what was previously in the game from E3 demos, or, you know, seeing remnants of these things in the game as it is now, actually makes me actively enjoy Cyberpunk less. It's become harder and harder harder to enjoy Cyberpunk as it is now, when constantly all around me in the game world, I'm like seeing what could have possibly been there and what used to be in the game and what was cut for time. It just makes the whole game experience as a whole feel more cheap, lesser. Like when you start to see areas of the game where clearly things were cut, there are parts in this game, like we're going to get to, that clearly had more to them and were just cut out completely for time reasons. So continuing here, this demo takes place near the beginning of the game, which is what the narrator says at one point.
This demo takes place near the beginning of the game. V and her friend Jackie, along with a netrunner named T-Bot, are hired to find and retrieve a missing person, a girl whose locator implant went dark.
Always clear.
In the final product, these events take place right after the life path as like the first proper mission of the game. Given life paths apparently didn't exist back then, they hadn't actually built the game start, so it's safe to say at this point when the narrator says this, they even themselves didn't really know when this was going to fit into the game. They just knew it'd be somewhere at the beginning. So coolers having backgrounds. When someone calls you in Cyberpunk, it's usually with a completely black background, whereas in this E3 2018 demo, they have a background. This is something that was presumed to have been cut because of performance issues. Non-lethal takedown could be done without grabbing enemies. In fact, it seems you couldn't grab enemies back then. There probably weren't any crates that you could hide them in either. Environmental takedowns. V uses the bathtub that the scavenger is working in to muffle the headshot. As you saw in the 2018 gameplay demo, he like used the water to muffle the headshot, which was really cool. It was a really cool moment, but these obviously aren't present in the game at all. Doesn't even exist in that mission. Reflex boosters were completely cut from the game. In the demo, V uses a booster to temporarily get access to Kereznikov. Combat drugs don't exist in the final game at all, the only consumables being food and healing items. So no choice to have Jackie grab the woman, while far from the only dialogue option that's not in the final game. A lot of dialogue options were cut from the final game, like an insane amount. This one would actually change more than the next line of dialogue. One of the big complaints from a lot of people is that a lot of the dialogue options don't do anything. There's like 3 different ways to say okay to like Jackie, or you know, go with Jackie to do something. There's like, they're not really actual choices, they're just different ways of saying the same thing, unfortunately, a lot of the time. Something that actually made a difference to what would happen in the scene was being able to choose for Jackie to pick up the woman, but obviously this was cut because it would actually mean having to have to animate Jackie to do that, and obviously they cut that for time. The final game state makes it more clear than ever how many of the game's changes were due to cutting corners and getting rid of whatever wasn't strictly necessary in a need to rush the game out of the door. Why spend time animating cutscenes when you can just make it all play in first person? This is a little bit more of a nitpicky one, but no one night stands. Besides quest related ones like Meredith Stout, the idea that you can use your hard earned money to get drunk and get laid in Night City is completely false. The city is bare bones and offers basically no activities for the players to partake in. So the one night stand that you see in the E3 2018 demo basically just doesn't exist at all. Cyberpunk will let you explore a variety of different interactions with the game world and its people. That was a lie. I mean, kind of. You can explore. You can explore. Now, this is a really big one. They say at some point in the game, from the radio host in V's apartment, they mentioned that Silverhand died last year in the year 2076. This, as well as the rest of the quests seen in this demo, having a completely different context from that in the final game, which indicates Cyberpunk 2077's main plot was completely different back in 2018 and didn't include Johnny Silverhand's chip in it. It looks like the entire plot of Cyberpunk was changed within like a year's notice. Probably down to Keanu Reeves coming on as Johnny Silverhand and playing a much bigger role. Of course, they want to take advantage of having Keanu Reeves, dude. That's so cool. So it's not surprising that they just did a 180 on what seems to have been, you know, the story that they were originally going to tell. So this is one that a lot of people have noticed and a lot of people are disappointed about, and that's not being able to change your apartment's environment or change any customization in your apartment. That's basically all gone completely. It also seems like you had the ability to buy multiple apartments throughout the city, which would make sense in any kind of rags to riches storyline. Buying apartments was going to be a big factor in the game. There's literally a section in one of the trailers where they flat out talk about V getting like a better apartment and a better house.
So what do you want? Supercar? Big house?
You want to rule this city.
But in the main game, you live in this kind of crappy apartment, and you can never upgrade that apartment at any point. You get access to a few of the characters' apartments, but you don't get to buy new apartments or high rises or anything like that. Something that did seem to be a big factor in trailers. So the narrator says at one point, a big part of our RPG experience is having a world that is interactive. The narrator goes on to showcase a player being able to interact with an ad, which then morphs into an advertisement specifically tailored for V's character, and then marks on the world the nearest point that you can go buy that product. This interactive consumerism is completely absent from the final product. The narrator says, purchase and upgrade your weapons and gear throughout the city. That makes it sound like gunsmiths would be able to upgrade your weapons and clothing, like blacksmiths in The Witcher 3, another game made by CD Projekt Red. But obviously, that's not present in the game. Only you can upgrade your own weapons through a very basic crafting menu that doesn't seem to affect the look of your weapons at all. There's a point where you see a punk pursuing a shop holding a samurai album in his hands, but as far as we know, no NPC acts like this in game at any point. They're normally just standing in front of a shop with never anything in their hands or interacting with any of the NPCs around them. Just a complete lack of any NPC interaction at all. Like GTA 5 had way better NPC interaction than this game did. More NPC density, that's something that the narrator hammers at, like upgraded our whole new crowd and community systems. Obviously, that's a lie. Like, maybe they did upgrade it from, like, I don't even want to think about what they could have upgraded it from, but even in populated areas, the game still feels empty and the NPCs walk around doing nothing. They also say the NPCs have a day and night cycle. That doesn't exist at all. The guy writing this list actually just says, the NPCs have a full day and night cycle. Lamal. But yeah, that doesn't exist at all. Now, this is a big one of the ones that upset me the most, and that's Ripperdocs were butchered. Vic's conversation remained mostly the same, but the interaction with Ripperdocs was completely stripped down to its bare minimum. It's literally a menu that comes up, and you get to replace your spine, but that makes no cosmetic difference. It gives you a stat boost. There's none of this sitting on the operation table like they seem to show in the E3 2018 demo. That happens once when you get one upgrade at the beginning of the game as an introduction to Ripperdocs, but then even if you replace your entire arm, both your legs, you get no cutscene, nothing. It just equips it, and most of the time makes no physical or aesthetic difference on your character. Completely butchered. It seems like anything with the Ripperdocs was just completely cut out from the final game, besides that initial conversation with Vic. The list writer says, installing new arms, legs, heart, valves, spine, etc. in the final game greets you with the same menu that you get when you go and buy a taco from a food vendor. It's ridiculous. There's cutting corners, and then there's blowing up the beams that support the building. You get basically the same menu that you would when you go buy a taco, then when you're replacing your spine. The final game's Act 1 feels like a glued together mess made out of half abandoned concepts and early versions of the plot. And the conversation with Meredith Stout is a really good example of this. This part of the mission was basically just left untouched from the 2018 version of events, which means things like Stout probing you to see if you're alone and then sending out the drone, and even if you tell her the truth, the lie detector checks out, now doesn't make as much sense as they did back when Jackie accompanied you in the quest. This is a quest that's still in the final game that was shown in the free demo, albeit changed a little bit. You don't have Jackie with you anymore. But that said, this quest in the final game feels like a much more detailed quest when they send out the drone, and the dialogue and the dynamic animation when like characters grab you, you have to respond, you have a gun to your face. This is like a quest that really grips you at the beginning because it was something that was shown off in the 2018 demo and almost made specifically for the 2018 demo, which is still in the game. But then you compare this quest to any other quest in the game, even a lot of main missions in the game, none of them come close to the detail that this one had. Sending out the drone, grabbing your character, questioning your character like that, your decisions feeling like they actually matter in this scene. Just none of this transitions over. There's also now no option to take Stout's bodyguard's gun. Can't do that anymore. As with Jackie picking up Sandra Dorset, options that don't simply change the very next line of dialogue are completely absent. So basically anything that changes animation, anything that strongly changes what happens, like Jackie picking up Sandra Dorset or being able to take the bodyguard's gun, things that require that extra animation time because it's a different option that actually changes something to more than just a yes or no and some basic dialogue. Basically anything that requires that has been cut. Now, this is a relatively big one. Cut Flathead. They completely cut the Flathead from the game. This was something that was technically not a part of the 2018 gameplay demo, but it was well known before the release that you were supposed to be able to keep the Flathead drone and use it in your techie builds, which was completely cut from the final game. But anyway, I want to know what you guys think. What do you guys think about Cyberpunk 2077? Are you playing the game? Are you enjoying it? Or have you gotten a refund, as CDPR are offering refunds to anyone that bought the game seemingly no matter what? Or are you going to continue playing the game and are you enjoying it? Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this video. I worked very hard on this video, so a like would be much appreciated. If you enjoyed this video at all or found it interesting or anything like that, a like would be much appreciated. I worked very hard on this video, and maybe a sub if you want more content like this in the future. I upload very regularly on this channel. Also, Discord, link to my Discord in the description down below. Appreciate getting this far in the video. Thank you very much for staying to the end. I'm GetHip, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. Bye bye.